Alright, well, welcome to the Flig video series. We're sitting down with Kasey Foster. Hi, Kasey.
Hello, hello.
Thanks for joining us.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So I want to talk a little bit about you and your career as a musician, and just a little bit about your experiences.
Sure, yeah, let's talk about it.
So Kasey, how many bands are you in?
At the moment, I think there are 4 functioning, or like gigging bands right now.
Really?
Yes.
How? What are they?
They are, This Must Be the Band, which was a band that played regularly, has now kind of transitioned into an event band.
Okay.
So that is much busier during the summer season, and is, primarily a lot of weddings, and is a very large catalog of songs. It started off like all Talking Heads for your wedding if you're a Talking Heads freak, and now it's become about, like 25% Talking Heads and 75% you pick what songs you
Wedding
want
tunes.
from the list, and yeah, so that's, I would say that's the most lucrative one.
Yeah.
And then the original band Grood, which is Charlie Otto's band, and he writes all of the music for that, and every once in a while he'll be like, what do you think about this? I'll put in my input, but it's really just me kind of doing what he tells me to do, and that's great. And so that one is probably one of my favorites, although we don't play as often, and in years past, we really tried to push doing live shows, but it became just a little tricky. You feel like you're just asking the same people to come see you, and it's hard to get your music into new ears.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of the task for Grood right now, is to just get more people to hear the music, so hopefully we can build more of a fan base. That's where Grood is. And Old Timey is a band that...
Before you move on, can you tell us what Grood is? What is the word Grood?
The word is good and great smashed together into Grood. So.
That's good.
That's just good. It's a good thing. It's good for dancing, it's good for listening to. Yeah.
Very cool. And so what else?
And so then the 2 bands that I manage, one is called Old Timey, and it's primarily stripping down to the bare minimum, and we have an upright bassist, a drummer who kind of plays brushes most of the time, and definitely not a full kit, nothing like that.
Sure.
And then we have a guitarist, and so we're focusing on songs from the 1920s up until probably the 1950s.
Very cool.
We'll get into those old hits that people have forgotten about.
From the golden age.
Yes,
Yeah.
but not so much standards, which I think is
Okay.
the thing that differentiates. It's the sound of a standards band, but we're not playing like Blue Skies or any of the standards you would hear.
Got it.
And then the other one I'll talk about is one of my favorite right now, Babylon 5, because it's just kind of taken off really quickly.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it's got more of a theatrical aspect to it, but it's 3 women around a condenser mic, one of those old school mics, and we have a piano player, and we're just doing something similar to what the Andrews Sisters did, but we're kind of making a parody of it all. Still great music and very tight and lovely harmonies, but we have inserted just kind of like this commentary of like, oh, a woman should stay home and cook and do all of these things, and it's much funnier now because we realize how ridiculous it is. So anyway,
Is Babylon 5 all original music?
No, we have some original songs, and in the future I would hope that we just accrue more and more, but again, I think part of the appeal is that they're songs people recognize, and I don't know, I mean, it's tough because it seems like covers just do better faster.
Right.
And that's,
as you know, with This Must Be the
yeah,
Band.
and the success with that was just like whoosh, and it took off.
Sure.
And then compared to doing original stuff, you really are like, I swear you'll like it. Just just try it out.
Like with Grood.
Exactly.
You're like, how do I get this in?
How do I get people to listen to it? And I can't blame listeners, because I know that even I knowing these things, when there's a friend sends a new album, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll listen to it. And this, I don't make time for it, and I kind of listen to the things I've always listened to. So anyway, I'm guilty of it too, but I guess that's the big mission, is to try and figure out how to get people to listen to original music some more.
Are there any interesting ways you choose to monetize between gigs? Like, I mean, if there's like long periods in between gigs, I mean, it sounds like you're really busy, but like, are there times where you're just kind of like in between, that you're like, how do we figure out how to kind of
make money?
Make money, yeah.
Yeah, that's such a great question, and I don't know. I think it's about budgeting, and when you're and knowing that you're going to come into, I guess it's a little easier with theater because you know exactly how long the show's gonna run. If I'm in a show for 4 months, I get a paycheck every week, and I know that in June, I'm not gonna have a paycheck. There's nothing lined up like that for 2 months, so I'm gonna kind of budget accordingly. And, you know, I think it was an amazing opportunity when This Must Be the Band was still working regularly.
Right.
It became such a lucrative project that it was almost, that was like the first time in my life I just had money.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can make a show, and oh, here, let me pay you, and you know,
right,
all this stuff. And but because of that too, we built a nice base up. And again, I think it was just kind of like the smarts of knowing that that's not always gonna be the case. So just always trying to maintain a certain bottom line. Is that the right word?
Sure.
I don't know what the phrase is, but and then when you know you're getting close to it, you're like, all right, well then maybe I gotta start bartending or something, or
Right.
you know, just picking up any way to, yeah. But so far, I haven't had to get like a job yet.
Well, that's great. Yeah, let's try.
Or I mean, not yet. I've had.